Hi, welcome to SFG Cards and Craft. Today I want to show you this card that I've done using a KatzelKraft stamp set called The Jungle. As you can see, I've actually, off to the right there, I've actually stamped other cards, which that video will be coming up shortly after this one probably. I'm not really sure which order they will be uploaded yet, but all 6 will be done. There's 6 stamps in the set. I'm not showing the stamp set here, but there is 6 stamps. The elephant is probably, but there's a toss-up between the elephant and the zebra as to which one is my favourite. Okay, the elephant, I'm doing the background by the looks of it first. Just blending in Blueprint Sketch. I think, no, it says Broken China. I think that looks like Blueprint Sketch. For the sky, I've actually also pierced on a cloud there. You'll also notice that soon this card will actually change. I made a big mess up and I couldn't recover the card, so I had to start all over again after I finished painting the elephant. I thought, oh, if I cut the elephant out then I can actually stick him on, but that didn't work either, so I decided to redo the whole card right from start. So also I didn't quite leave enough space there, I think, to put the sentiment as I wanted to put on with the cloud being up so high. So later on when I actually redo this card, I actually put it so that the cloud is actually down lower. This colour that I'm bringing in is Hickory Smoke. It's to indicate that there's a cloud hanging over the elephant's head. He's really sad and miserable, and it's sort of showing that it's raining on him. But it's later on that I actually mess up and have to redo the card. I don't actually show my mess up though, but you'll see that the card is just redone later on. But that doesn't happen until after I've actually painted the whole elephant, of course. This stamp set has 6, I think I mentioned earlier, has 6 stamps, animals in it. I'm actually doing cards for every animal. I'm actually planning on doing a mini series of cards, pretty much calling it one stamp set 6 cards or something similar to that. So I'm doing 6 cards from one stamp set. Now whether I can actually use one image 6 times and make 6 different cards, or in this case 6 different animals, 6 different cards, it just remains to be seen. So sometimes I'll be it'll probably be sometimes months perhaps in between each of these cards mini series editions that I actually make, but we'll see. I'm not sure. This is the first idea that I've actually had with something like this. So what I'm doing here is I think I'm bringing in for the elephant Hickory Smoke, and I actually just carefully going around his eye there. I do put in for his toenails and his ears, not that you can probably see much on his toenails, but I actually do bring in worn lipstick for his toenails and ears. And also I shade it with a bit of black soot. His tusks, or actually probably this is probably a female elephant because the tusks are fairly small. On the big bull elephants they tend to be quite large, but I've actually heard something many years ago and I've never forgotten it, like an elephant never forgets. I heard that elephants, they live to be usually around about 70 years old, 60 to 70 years old, as long as they're not killed off by some poacher in the meantime, and in their whole life they never stop growing. So they can actually probably tell how old an elephant is as to how big it is. So the bigger the elephant, the older it is. So because they never stop growing, if they're a really huge elephant they can estimate that they're a really old elephant. So but the big bull elephants, I think their tusks seem to grow quite large, whereas the female elephants, I think they're called the female elephants, cows, are quite small in comparison for the same age. Well, of course the female ones probably don't grow anywhere near as big as the male one. But the tusks, I'm putting that in antique linen, just to sort of, like, if you can imagine an old piano, they used to have ivory on the white keys and they used to yellow, so this is what I'm putting in, like yellowed ivory on the tusks there. Now what am I doing? I don't know. Oh yes, putting in some shading using a bit of it's probably a little bit of I think I'm just doing a second coat of hickory smoke here at the moment, that's all that is. I haven't brought the black soot into it yet. And I've got a fluff on my thing there. As I've said before, I've got 2 cats living in this house and the fluff gets everywhere. They'll stand on the floor around my table and they'll scratch or something and the fluff just flows up into the air. And if you get a shine of light, you can see all this hair falling down everywhere, little tiny bits of particles of hair. But anyway, I digress. The shading, and I haven't started doing the shading yet. This is actually still hickory smoke, second coat of on the elephant hickory smoke. And I'm doing a little bit of cheeks, like a bit of pink on these cheeks. But because this one here is actually redone, I actually don't do the cheeks on the second one, but you don't notice that. Blueprint sketch. So even so, this first card that I did, the background has got blueprint sketch in it. So the second card, when I did it, you'll notice the background also changes the colour, and that would be when the black background becomes broken china. I didn't do the blueprint sketch in the background of the second card, the one that actually ends up being the one that's finished. This is bringing in the shading now for the elephant. This elephant looks so sad, so miserable. So when I put the sentiment on, which is at the time after I actually have to redo the whole card, I come back with the sentiment on it. So you'll see why. I mean, this elephant looks so sad and miserable. Sorry about the turning around all the time, but I have to get to the angle that I have to do with the brush that I'm using. I need to get the right angle, so that's why I'm turning it around a lot. And just about finished the shading there now, I think. Oh, still got a little bit to do behind the ear. And I was really kicking myself when I had to redo this again. But I did try to save the elephant, but unfortunately I couldn't. Okay, well here's the second card, this take 2, I guess you could say. And as you see, I've got the sentiment on there. The cloud has been lowered down a little bit. And the sentiment says, I'm missing you more than just a little, like a ton. Now that sentiment, it comes from Whimsy's Sketched Elephant stamp set. That's where that one's from. Now I'm also doing this a little bit differently to what I planned on doing first. I've just painted the cloud in with a little bit of hickory smoke, just sort of shading it here and there. Around the outside mainly, just darker at the bottom a little bit. So I've actually come up with a different way of doing from where I started to this part 2 or second take. I've actually changed my mind completely. Okay, and I'm bringing in a Sakura, what's it called, Jelly Roll Clear Glitter Pen. This one's actually part, I haven't got the number here, sorry, but it's one of those clear glitter pens, very glittery, and I'm just putting in like drops of rain because he's very sad and it's raining right on his head because he's missing or she, whatever, is missing someone. I keep saying he, but it could be a she. And I think just one more row of raindrops. And I'm making the one at the bottom of each row more like a drop rather than just a line, just to sort of make it a little bit more drippy looking. Between the two cards, the first part, like take 1 and take 2, the elephant was done pretty much the same way on each card. I don't know that I've done anything different between the two of them. The only difference really was the cloud was moved down, and what I've done with the cloud was a little bit different. That should be the only difference, I think. The eye, I did actually paint the eye around the pupil part of the elephant's eye. I painted a bit of blueprint sketch around it I thought it looked quite cute having a blue eye. And also the pupil on the eye was dotted with a black glaze pen, the Sakura black glaze pen, and glossy accents was put over the top, but that was done after everything was finished. Now the grass, the blades of grass is stamped using Whimsy Sketched Elephant stamp set. There's a little blade of grass in that. That was using Fawn Noble First ink, and now I'm coming in with the Mowed Lawn ink just to paint the grass in. We might listen to some music now just briefly, so we can actually sit back and watch. Okay, I'm just coming in here now just to do a bit of, just touching up the grass a little bit. But I'm going to be doing some shading underneath the elephant now. Just because it's laying flat down on the ground, I thought I'd better put a bit of shadow around it. So that was probably using hickory smoke. I think I did show it up at the start there. It doesn't look dark enough to be black soot. Apologies for not being able to see some of these things, but if I forget to write them down, I'm viewing this when I'm editing on a little tiny screen, only about, well, postcard size basically, because when I've got it up, if I blow it up onto the big screen, like I'm doing it on my laptop, and it's got like a 16-inch screen, but I can't actually edit while I'm actually viewing in that case. So it's one of those things that I can't actually do both at the same time. So this is what's happening here, is just putting a bit of shading under the elephant just to make it look like it's lying down. And there's the panel done. I feel so sorry for this little elephant. It looks so sad and miserable, missing its friend. Anyway, there's the card. If you liked it, please subscribe and hit the like box. Thank you. Bye bye.